I, Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, hereby command that you do not listen or subscribe to the Dragon Ball 4 Life podcast. Whatever you do, would you defy royalty? No! Bye!
May we have your attention, please, and welcome to a very special episode of Dragon Ball 4 Life, where you come for the content, but you stay for the culture. That's right, we talking about culture like Goku eating soul food, and ooh, that's a very important designation for this episode, but we'll get there. We talking about Ichigo with our Ichi Bros. We the Outlaw Stars, giving you the Outlaw Bars, and preaching the good word on all things nerd. As always, we are your hosts, the Fusion Dance Dons, aka the Mong Gods. I go by the name of Brogita, the Prince of all Sayings, Mr. Matthew Porter, aka Matty Ice, here with my counterpart, the Oob to my Majin Buu, my Den Day one, going from the lookout to the cookout of Mr. Troll Soul Trav. Talk to the people, Trav.
You know me. They call me Saiyan A. Smith, the kid Troll Soul Trav, aka Super Saiyan Shark. And you know me. I stay chillin', and I love thy women like Krillin. Now,
he does love her.
Mr. Porter, today is a milestone.
Milestone.
What is it, Mr. Porter? What is it?
It has been 99 amazing episodes of Dragon Ball 4 Life leading up to today, to the main event. We are over 9,000. We have ascended. Planet Namek is about to explode. It's been 3 minutes, but really it's been 86 episodes, however you feel. But we have finally got to episode 100. And Trav, we have an amazing guest, a Super Saiyan sized guest for episode 100. but we've buried the lead long enough, Trav. Let the people know who we got, who has decided to answer the Dragon Call for episode 100.
I mean, look, you kind of allude to it, but, many of us in life, we don't reach 100 of anything. But when achieved, it's a milestone that, we got to celebrate, especially birthdays too. But Dragon Ball for Life, for those that do not know, it started as a vision that continues to extend across all things nerd, but it's grounded off the idea that Dragon Ball is the gateway into anime for many of us today. The DB4L team could not be more honored, grateful,
so honored,
and blessed to celebrate our 100th episode with a legend, a pioneer, and just overall an amazing human. Voicing the iconic Kid Goku and Kid Gohan, not to mention is a lovely vocalist herself. Please press play when you listen to this episode, because you're obviously already pressing play because you're listening. In all, to the iconic Stephanie Nadolny. Welcome.
Hey guys.
Snaps all around.
Snaps all around.
What an amazing intro. I'm so impressed with your writing skills and your rhythm and your rhymes. Because I write sometimes too, and parodies and jingles. So that was great. I love the rhyme. Krillin.
As you can imagine, as two young men born in the 90s, that means a lot. That means a lot.
Not these kids. Okay. I can say 70s or 80s kids. I really truly grew up more in the 80s, really. Because when you think about growing up, you don't necessarily think when you're a baby. You're thinking about when you're formative years, when you're in middle school and high school and stuff like that. So I'll claim the 80s.
Absolutely. But Stephanie, we like I said, we want to thank you so much for taking your time out to come on this episode. Like Trav said, when we started this about 2.5 years ago, I would say that the goal was always to get into room with legends such as yourself, but being able to do it is still very humbling and very exciting. You get the butterflies in your stomach because it's because we say all the time, and it's just I'm saying this braggadociously to you intentionally because I want you to receive the praise. You literally are the voice of a generation. So
that's what people are telling me. I did not think that's what I was doing 25 years ago. Making some nostalgia from the get-go. I couldn't be more grateful. My fans are the best. I have anime babies all over the world. And I got two right in front of me. So it's really great to meet you guys. And wow, 2.5 years. And It's an honor to be on the 100th episode. Wow.
100, baby.
Yeah.
100. And Stephanie,
We're
we
very
want, we
excited.
1000%, obviously Dragon Ball podcast. So we'll obviously get into the next and of the Dragon Ball. But like Trav did say, you do so many amazing other things. And again, like this platform is used to highlight you and all the greatness that you do outside of what like us fellow nerds know you for. So we always say here on DB4L that the easiest place to start is the beginning. So before you lended the voice to Kid Goku and Kid Gohan, like how did you get into like the entertainment journey? Like what led you to those iconic roles?
Well, you know, I'll try to summarize it. It's kind of a lot. But,
we on your time. Like, what time would you need?
Oh, you guys are spoiling me rotten, man. I'm gonna have to butter my head to go through the door on the way home. I'm kidding. No big crazy egos right here. So I knew back before I really could talk. It's kind of cliche, but I was kind of talking before I was singing before I was talking, and I was dancing before I was walking, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because ever since I had a microphone in my hand, we always had a good stereo in the house. Mom and Dad were both music people. They weren't musicians, but we always had. We didn't have much, but we did have a stereo. And I remember the 8-track tape going in, and my dad was taping me and my brother on the stereo with you plug in the little microphones that are like the little bitty tiny ones from way back, and I just remember I never wanted to let it go. It was time for bed, and I would cry and get in trouble because I wanted to keep singing. I wanted to keep vocalizing. From the get-go, I was already learning what the capabilities I had as far as what my voice could do. And then as I got older, I wanted to go to California and go into the real big child star type thing. And then as I got older, I wanted a pop music career. But my parents split, and there was a lot of disarray, and my stepdad came in the picture, and it was all about his career. And my mom and I were so close. I didn't want to leave her. So, rest in peace. I lost her the year I was cast as Gohan 25 years ago. She's my hero, but we were basically just kind of following him around because he kept getting transferred. So I was a new girl in small towns, and it was really hard to pursue. I was within a lot of limits because I could only do like community theater or drill team or pom-pom or drama, choir, show choir. That's really all I kind of had. But I got involved with anything and everything that would relate to show business as a child. And I had to get over some stage fright because I hadn't been used to performing in front of people yet. And I remember when I was 10 and 11, I would sing all day long with my family or in front of my mom or whatever. But when it came time to sing in front of an audience, I would just get petrified. And I think it's just that self-esteem stuff, moving around, being the new girl. It was really hard to have the confidence that I needed at that age. But I had to get over that if I was going to be a singer on a stage, or theater. So I basically just did anything and everything. We kept moving around. We ended up. I started out in Memphis, Tennessee. That's where I'm originally from. I was there till I was about 5. We relocated to Houston, Texas, and I kind of spent first, second grade there. Then we moved to Eagle Pass on the border of Mexico from, I guess I'd been 3rd to 5th grade. Then Durant, Oklahoma from 5th to 8th grade, and then Coffeyville, Kansas from when was that? 8th to 11th grade, and then we moved right before my senior year to DFW, Texas, which I'm glad I'm here now. But yeah, that one hurt. I mean, they all hurt.
Moving your senior year, that's
right when I would start to get to where the kids are like, she's not going anywhere. She's not the new girl anymore. But then all of a sudden I get ripped and I'm the new girl again. It's great for me now because I'm resilient. There was a resilience there that I had to learn without even understanding what I was doing as far as like fitting in and stuff like that. So whenever you guys say nerds and stuff and misfits, I feel like I'm a misfit all the way around. I was a different child. Once I got my favorite item at age 8 was my portable cassette recorder where you could put in a blank tape and record anything you wanted, play it back. So I would record my babysitters, my family. I would mimic cartoons. I would record, as I got older, I'd record music. And then, of course, the technology got better. So there was like boom boxes and you could record from tape to tape and you record from radio to tape and you could that was kind of my YouTube of the, you know, it wasn't really YouTube, but that's all we had, and albums. And, you know, my favorite singer of all time, and to this day, I feel has taught me how to sing, is Donna Summer. My dad played a cassette of her singing "I Feel Love," which is a bunch of this stuff's coming back. You've probably heard it. Ooh, I feel love, I feel love, I feel love. That one.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it's great. It's been remade by some other artists, but I was like literally like in a trance. I was like obsessed with disco music, and she fast became my favorite. And anytime I had a birthday or Christmas, I'd be like, please give me a Donna Summer record or Donna Summer. Anything and everything Donna Summer. I mean, and I would literally mimic her when I would be in my room. I could do it for hours. I could entertain myself for hours, and I would try to mimic her voice. And I think what it was is I wasn't necessarily trying to sound like her as much as I loved her voice. I just was trying to find what my voice was with her influence. And so to this day, she's my idol. And I'm trying to figure out where we went. Oh yeah, so I moved around a lot. So once I'll speed up a little. Once I finished high school, graduated with a bunch of strangers, not fun. I ended up going back to my 10-year reunion in Kansas, just because those were my 8th through 11th grade friends. And actually, that's right when my mom got diagnosed with leukemia, and she got the toxic exposure from living in Kansas. We found all this out many years later. It was horrifying, but I basically finished high school and went to UNT, about 15 to 20 minutes away in Denton, Texas. We call it Little D, like Dallas is Big D. Denton is Little D.
Little D.
Yeah. It's cute. I don't know. It's cute. It's got a life of its own up there. It's a hippie town. It's a music town. It's a music school. It's great. I still go up there to hang out and check out the restaurants and things like that. I still live really close to there. So basically I was just like, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to try to blaze through this. I was there for a couple of years, and I started singing in a band with like frat guys. I was actually at a frat party, and I was a little sister, and they got me up on stage, and I was just like, I just belted out a tune, and I was ready to go. And I was really into musical theater too, and I had already done several auditions at that point for like Disney World and Disneyland and Six Flags Over Texas, and I had done some shows there, which, you know, was a great way to propel yourself to the next step. But the story is it's kind of cathartic, because I was singing with a band that we had already formed, and I was 19, and we were getting ready to start booking like real gigs. You know, all of us were young back then. I mean, bass player and guitar, we were all 19, 20, 21. And then I think one of them was like 28. And that's where we rehearsed at his house, because he was older, he was married, and he had money, and we were able to like rehearse at his house. Well, he'd leave the window open. I'm getting long-winded. I just had a big old cup of coffee.
This is why we're here.
Woo.
Taking it all in.
Right, the floor is yours. Look, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, this is great.
Look, it's cool. I don't know. I mean, we all got an origin story, but we all got, you know, how we got wherever we're at. It's all part of our life, right? Our journey.
Absolutely.
So what happened was the window was open, and a singer / big to do Little D band guy named Lindy heard me singing and was, you know, kind of curious about what we were doing over across the street. And on the way home to go out to my car, he stopped me and asked if I'd like to audition for his band. It was going to be a big show band touring all over with two or three other girl singers with choreography and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, this is right up my alley. So I auditioned for that band, and their manager, Ed Cobb, actually, they had an opening in another band that had already been established since 1971 called Vince Vance and the Valiants, featuring the vivacious vixens of rock and roll, Venus, Violet, and Victoria. And it was basically a show review. It's like
where are so many V's?
Yeah, there. Yeah, we had to have V names, but I basically got recruited into that band. And I mean, like I don't even think it was a week from the time the guy spoke to me till the time I interviewed, which was scary, because the guy was like really, really grilling me. Like, can you get on the road? Can you be away from your home for 30 days? Can you like sing with some of the best singers in DFW? Are you sure you can do this? I was like, yes, I can do it. I can do it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm like, heck yeah. Are you kidding me? This is what I've been waiting my whole life to do. And it was a really, really really good opportunity, and especially with me being young like that, to travel. And it was a whirlwind at the beginning. I was the baby. I was the youngest. I got picked on by the other girls, but that's how you're the freshman of the group, and that's you kind of get picked on. And but I didn't leave. I ended up staying with that band for over a decade. And
that's awesome.
Throughout that, and almost 20 years, if you add it all up together, because the band is still intact. It's 53 years old this September. So I joined right at the 20-year reunion. So the band had just gotten a tour bus. Perfect time to join. A little more comfortable than some of from the shuttle vans and things like that. And boy, we had a lot of times when that bus broke down. We were really paying our dues, let me tell you. Sometimes we wouldn't get a shower. We'd have to sleep on the floor in the airport because we didn't have enough time. And man, we living it.
Lifestyle, baby.
You're sick, you're bad, get your costume on and get your butt on stage, and that's just the way it was. And then I started becoming more like a mentor to the new girls and was helping, recruit singers. And throughout this process, I met Carl Finch of Brave Combo. It's a Grammy Award-winning polka band out of Little D, Denton. And he had some original music. He was looking for a voice to record in the studio. And so it was kind of a developmental thing. And I had, been doing studio work on stage and in the studio with Vince Vance and the Valiants, because he put out his own albums as well. A lot of them were like novelty. Like he did one called Bomb, 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 Iran, Bomb, Bomb, Bomb.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I love that song.
It's a parody. It's Bomb, Iran.
Iran.
Yeah. So, and then he wrote look at that guy's, it's called Tamale Wagon. Look at that guy's Tamale Wagon. Well, if you think about it, it can, anyway. He was really
Euphemism.
Yeah. It was a family show, but there were clubs we could go a little crazy. We did anything from festivals to parties, conventions, corporate parties, Mardi Gras balls.
The range.
Yeah, the schedule was jam-packed. I mean, it was the longest tour that I did was, I had only been in the band like 2 weeks, and we went on a tour that was 31 days. And I was away from home for 31 days. And this was, you got to think about it. Is this back before cell phones? This was you got to go to a payphone at 2 a.m, call your boyfriend, which is dangerous. But here I am. Nobody's gonna hurt me.
Yeah, right. You got your back towards the phone box so no one can sneak up behind you.
Well, yeah, I had to learn that that's not safe, and to make better decisions as far as street smarts go. And the girls in the band and the guys would be like, "Hey, wait, what are you doing? I'm going to call my boyfriend."
The buddy system.
3 blocks down, they would have to buy these calling cards, and I mean, it was just it was back in the day. But we didn't know it. We didn't know any better. So, so I basically started working with Carl Finch of Brave Combo, and was also starting to work at TM Century, which is a radio jingle powerhouse. And the choir was full. They when you're in that choir, it's really hard to bust into it. So they would use me as a soloist, or I'd come in and help them write for comedic radio, and it was like a network. And so I was writing songs and taking, like Weird Al Yankovic. It's kind of like that. Mm-hmm. I would take songs and change the lyrics. And I had one called Broccoli Spears, with squash and tomatoes, corn and potatoes. And the whole song's about veggies, and eat your veggies, eat your veggies when you dine. We changed the words. We did one for American Idol. We did what we called it American My Doll, and Kelly Clarkson. Yeah, airing once a month on Fox. Yeah,
you're pulling at my heartstrings. I love a good pun.
Oh yeah, some of my friends call me
Matt checking in.
Steph Punny instead of Steph Funny.
There you go.
Stephanie Punny. Yeah. Puns are great. Dad jokes. I'm all about the clean dad jokes.
What? The dad joke? Oh.
If you can
so
get a good joke in without profanity and without offending anybody, then that's genius. I mean,
It's literally my existence.
Yeah. and laughter's the best medicine. To this day, if I'm having a rough time, I pull out my music and my comedy to get reprogrammed and to start over and get refreshed. But basically what ended up happening was I ended up doing an entire album with Carl Finch. We called it The Cookies. It has not been released. It's been shelved since 1998. It's been shelved.
I mean, we got the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. Anything's possible.
Well, I got the permission.
Bring out the archives.
Right?
I've gotten permission to release it however I want. So I got to just figure out Spotify and how you do all that technology stuff. That's what Dan's here for.
There
He's
you
also
go.
my technical engineer.
What a birthday present.
I know.
Album that's been waiting to come out.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, it's almost like we kind of were playing around on Casio keyboards, and we did some with drums and some with not the real drummer, and it was just a work in progress. But and then that's when I was discovered by Barry Watson, who was the director of Dragon Ball Z. I didn't know anything about him. All of this stuff came much later. My mom was sick with leukemia, so the 89 was 99 was a crazy year. I look at it now, and I guess I was just kind of going through the motions, and kind of stronger than you think. You kind of figure out a way to get through it. Like I said, I had some bullies. I had some emotional bullies, so I'd already learned how to thicken my skin, because you just have to, especially in this industry. It's cutthroat, so cutthroat. But so Barry Watson was there. He heard me singing on some of the animation themes that Funimation was already working on, and I was singing backups for Brave Combo and doing some vocal work, backup singing and things like that. And he heard my voice and said, "Have you ever done voice acting?" I said, "Oh, I do funny voices, and I've been in musical theater." Yeah, I mean, heck yeah, why not? I mimic crazy voices. And so he remembered me. And about 8 months later, he had me come down to audition. It was actually the very end of 98 when I auditioned. And I showed up to the Funimation studio, tiny little studio in a bank building, across from a debt relief service for people who are going into bankruptcy. It's crazy how you think about
what a setup.
Where am I? It's like over an hour away to get there one way, but I didn't really. I was like, okay, we're going to audition. This is what you do. So I auditioned for the females. They gave me the copy of what they looked like and what their lines were. So I went into the room. It was like 3 judges, like American Idol, and I just did a bunch of different voices: Poir, Chi-Chi, Bulma, Chiaotzu. I just did 4 or 5 of them, and then right before I was done, they said, "Can you do the voice of a young boy?" And I said, "Oh," it caught me off guard, but like, yeah, why not? I've got 2 stepbrothers, I got a brother. Let's just channel one of them. And I gave them what I thought sounded like a little boy, and they said, "Can you add some rasp? Can you make it raspy?"
The legendary Gohan rasp.
Yeah. And people sometimes make fun of that, but it's like that was direction. Like that's what they wanted. So I said, "Oh, you mean like this? Is this raspy enough?" Yeah,
It's so good. It's so good.
I sure am hungry. But anyway, so it was actually they were working on recasting the entire show in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. No residuals, no royalties, right to work state. They had a lot more control over how things were done. They saved a lot of money that way. Funimation kept growing and growing. But I got a message on my answering machine, because that's what we had back then, an answering machine. Yeah, and it's like had the little cassette tape in there, like a little baby one. And that's when Barry's assistant said, "We've decided to cast you as Gohan. It's a very big part, and we're really looking forward to working with you." And I'm not just
what an understatement.
Yeah, right.
Very big part.
No, I was excited to do a voice on a cartoon because I'd always wanted to, and I had done some stuff with Chuck E. Cheese, singing on and being. I was the voice of Helen the Hen for 1 season, but the singing voice only, which is kind of weird. But so I got cast, and then I was just called in once every few months. Did all my lines together, like we did. We recorded separately, and it was very primitive, but it was high tech for the time. For 1999, we had a really nice equipment and a booth that was soundproof, and we had like a television that we could look at and follow the mouth flaps. And with me having a rhythm, a sense of rhythm, being a musician, I'd been playing piano and stuff like that. And I had, being a singer, it helped me develop that skill of being really efficient at it. And so at first, a lot of my lines were reactions. So Barry was calling me the reactress. So that was kind of, the cast party, like at the end of like a section of them, and we all got to meet each other. And, that's when I met, most of the cast members, Tiffany Vollmer, the voice of Bulma, Linda Young, voice of Frieza, Cynthia Krantz, voice of Chi-Chi, And a lot of the other cast members, although those are kind of my favorites. We're like the OG Dragon Ball ladies, right?
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we met some of the other directors. We met. We did karaoke. I mean, we had parties like once a year for about 3 or 4 years, and then the company just kept growing and acquiring more properties. And then Barry and some of the people there sold their part of the company, and they made a whole bunch of money and raised their families. And then there became Studio One, like Studio A, Studio B, Studio C. Eventually outgrew that entire building and had to move to another part of the DFW. But by then I had already done Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah.
And I was helping write animation. Yeah, and in between all that, I was writing parodies and jingles for morning show radio, traveling with my show band, working on choreography with New Girls. I mean, I was busy all the time. I loved it. I'm great when I'm on my toes because I am better with focus, I can hyper focus on it and just rock it, So I was doing a lot. I mean, and screaming and yelling didn't come as a big shock because I was already
a lot of that.
rocking out with a show band that's got like 9 people on stage, and you got to project. So I had the chops, I guess. I wasn't ready. I just showed up to work. They told me when to be there. And maybe 3 or 4 months before it wasn't really steady work, but it was kind of hourly, and you're done. And then they fixed everything in post, and they had people working on the music and the sound effects. And at the very end of the session there was a lot of heavy screaming / fighting and exertions. We would thankfully fast forward, or whatever you wanted to call it back then. It's still ADR. And then we would blast it all out at the end, and then they would place it through like the computer system, which was really, really helpful during the Cell Saga for me being Gohan. That was crazy. That was really, really, really my most difficult role. Not just by acting, but being able to act in that gruff, Clint Eastwood, grovelly, whoa, let's do this. It's all of a sudden I'm a man. Like, it's like, how did this
Tough
happen?
times for Gohan, that saga.
Yeah.
It's like funny because it's not that maybe I got stereotyped a little bit. I did do some other roles, and I did play some of the female. I did some of the villagers and the women screaming and babies crying, and I ended up getting the voice of Baby Trunks, which is kind of trivia because a lot of people don't realize that.
Hey, fun fact! Breaking news.
I get to pee on Yajirobe.
Hey,
He could talk, but and then I also got the voice of East Kai one day. Some of the directors were talking about it, and they'd already chosen somebody. We had about 5 minutes. So they said, what do you think about this character? What do you think she would sound like? And I just went for it. I was like, oh my, she would sound just like this. I'm the queen. I'll win the gold. Oh my. So basically I kind of took like that character from Gilligan's Island when I grew up and just,
the Howls, Mr. and Mrs. Howell. I thought you were dead. Just that kind of a voice. And the only reason I did get that was good timing. I was already there, and it sounded nothing like Goku or Gohan. So one good thing about Funimation is they were very particular about the voices sounding unique and distinct. Whereas I'm not sure if Japan was very concerned with that. Not that they did a bad job; they're the kings of Japan anime. But, but if you think about it, the same woman who's 82 years old did Goku, Gohan, and Goten throughout the entire series. Yeah, and it could be just that they have different inflections and things like that. But if you didn't sound different enough, they'd look for someone else. But during all of this time, I was still working with my band and writing some stuff with Carl Finch and working on music. And we got invited to do some animation themes. So I was invited in to sing Yu Yu Hakusho's Sayonara Bye Bye. So that was my first recording of an animation theme. Opening and closing themes to Kitty Grade, which are like pop songs. These are all on my website and they're on YouTube. And I did, I think, 2 more for Case Closed. They're a little hard to find. They're love
archived.
Case Closed.
Oh, I know. I tried out for the Detective Conan, but again, it's a little boy voice. You can only sound so different. I mean, maybe 3 different types of little boy voices. I mean, that's the lady from The Simpsons does the same thing. It's a thing. Most people know that by now. That if you play the voice of a young boy or a teen boy, they usually use a female because she can keep that voice consistent for kind of like ever. as opposed to the adolescent puberty changes that that boys go through. Time to change, it's like. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I know it's a little long-winded, but
no, that was amazing.
I wasn't where I was if I wasn't ripped from school, if I wasn't if all these things didn't happen that were so difficult and hard to get through, I wouldn't be here now in this interview. And then we talked about how Akira Toriyama just passed away in early March. It's like think of the millions and millions of people who have bonded over the show and have been watching it their whole lives and watching it again with their kids, and it's mind-boggling, extremely humbling, and it's given me my livelihood for many years now. I'm back in the Comic-Con scene. I didn't know why I didn't think that I was doing anything new enough to kind of qualify to be a celebrity guest. So I kind of had to get coaxed to come to do them. And then once I started doing them again, I was like, wow, I can handle doing this for a while. I'll audition during the week, get an agent maybe or whatever, and kind of juggle and live out of a suitcase, which it's funny. It's like I'm coming full circle because I did that all through my 20s.
All comes back around.
I was legit going to say the universe is universing.
Universe 7 is definitely Universe 7
right now. All right, you're going to be picked out from just a frat bro band, and you're going to be, hey, you need to pick up your life and go tour and sing. You're like, hey, you know what? I've been doing that, so you found the right girl.
Yeah, but it's just cool to It made me feel good because I had been working so hard my whole life that I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a professional. I wanted to make a living doing it, and to kind of be discovered through a window is kind of where it all began there, But being in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas now, I haven't left. I mean, I never wanted to move again. I'm in the same house I've had since 2000. Right after Mom passed, I bought a house, and I'm like, no. Ever again am I going to
in here?
I was trying to build roots all those years, and when I just thought I was grabbing roots, we would move again. And I know that it was business, and I know that it was because supporting a family. I get it. My mom had my brother and I, and then my stepdad had 2 boys, and so we got to thankfully have some things that my mom might not have been able to give us if she was a single mom, because she'd be at work all the time, which she did do a lot of that. But I was able to, take piano lessons and get orthodontics for my teeth. There were things that not everybody has the opportunity to have those things. And I just know that my mom, she cherished me and my brother so much that she would do anything for us. And she wanted us to have, a good life. And she came from practical poverty. She was the oldest of 4, and my mom had 1 doll and 2 dresses, really sad, but she made something of her life, and she rules my heart. And I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't have such a wonderful mom. So
snaps from mama.
She at least got to be around for me to be a professional singer for about a decade, and then also to see me as Gohan on the TV. That's awesome. She had her little cap on. She was going through chemo, and we were watching Dragon Ball Z on Cartoon Network. And she was amazing. She was so funny. She's like, "Now, what was your name? What's your name again? Is it Gonad?" No. My mom was hilarious, but I think she was serious about that. I don't think she had the name right. But we, my mom and I were buddies, close buddies. We laughed a lot. All my laughter and love of children and love of animals all came from my mom. And my dad was always in another state, and I unfortunately lost him in January. He had a stroke and got really, really sick. And so I'm orphaned and sad and childless, but I absolutely love my fans, and I'm focusing on the positives and continuing to try to make a difference in the world and do good things and rebuild and, heal, grow, and inspire. And it doesn't mean I can't. I can be around kids. I can go to the hospital and hold babies. I can hold the fans' babies. They bring them to me dressed like Gohan and Goku. And I'm like, this is heaven. This is great. The Comic-Cons are so much fun, whether they're big or small. They're the perfect place for this the nerdism you were speaking about when you were introducing the show. It's like there's somebody's nerds out about something. Everybody's a nerd about, when we were growing up, it's like, you're a nerd. Well, you know what? We're all nerds. I mean, just depends on what you like.
There is no more cool kids table is what we always say now. We all enjoy it.
Right. And it doesn't have to be that way. But
kids from,
you're
not cool at this point.
Right, like nerd is cool.
Nerd is the comeback thing now, because there's collectors that have grown up in a lot of these shows that I'll be invited to. We'll have all the retro stuff. They'll have like the Back to the Future stuff and the 80s movies, and even farther back, the shows from the 70s, which we were watching in the 80s because they were reruns. All of those actors and Power Rangers. That's 90s, but like all of these different genres. Wrestlers, cosplayers. They have like celebrity guest cosplayers that are so good at what they do. Mm-hmm. They make their costume all by themselves, and they have the contests and stuff. And it's a really great place for people who have a rough time in school if they're young, and where they can come out and have some fun and maybe just get dropped off if they're not driving yet, and just go run around and play and have fun in a safe environment and be who they really want to be. And so I love it just because I get to meet all the fans, and I love to travel. And because I don't have kids, even though I desperately wanted them, I can just jump up and go. I mean, I have pets, of course. I have fur babies.
That counts. That definitely
I love them.
I got a fur baby myself.
They eat better than we do. Let me tell you, they're royalty. 2 Persians and a Chiweenie rescue, and those are our kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'd have 17 dogs if I could, but I am doing a little bit too much.
Booked and busy. Booked and busy.
Yeah.
Well, Steph, I do want to say, because we do have some questions for you, but I did just want to take a time to speak for myself and Trav and the fandom. That you mentioned that, you are a product of your circumstances that got you here, but it also introduced you into our lives. And we would just like to say and send you obviously positive love and energy at all times. What you were able to do for kids our age and with these characters, it resonated with us, and it still holds on to this day. This podcast exists because of what you guys were doing at Funimation. So I see the cap. I see the swag. I got you. So on behalf of DB4L, but like I said, I'll be as boisterous as to say, on behalf of everybody, we want to say thank you, honestly. Yeah.
The pleasure was all mine, boys.
We love that.
Yeah, for sure.
We always tell these voice actors that Dragon Ball has had such a huge impact on all of our lives, and it was extremely felt, especially when Toriyama passed, because we all to this day I'm still sometimes wake up nah, he's not gone. He's not gone.
Yeah, he's still his legend will live on forever.
Forever.
Exactly. You got a good a lot of people really sad, still very, very sad over that, because he was still working on projects and has a family, and excuse me, I guess he had an illness that wasn't, I didn't know anything about it until it happened. I was hoping to meet him one day, to be honest. I was hoping to go to Japan, and I don't know if it would have ever happened, but I would love to have met him, just because he's changed so many lives. Just what a great story, and for it to still be rocking now, years later, and now it's nostalgia. It's part of the whole, like you said, the gateway anime. That's what it's been for a lot of people, as the gateway, and now there's mainstream anime. Because there's also Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon and Pokemon.
Digimon gets me every time.
Yeah, I know.
Every time Digimon gets me right here.
And Naruto, I think, is another one that was really big. And back in the 60s, Speed Racer was anime.
I like Speed Racer too. Back on Cartoon Network, you used to play all the classic cartoons, like Speed Racer, Scooby Doo. I watched Smurfs.
I did the Smurfs thing. Oh, I love the Smurf. There was one female Smurf.
They got to the violent anime. They're you can.
You're good here.
And then if you want to venture off and watch anything else,
Looney Tunes was a big one for my generation.
Bugs Bunny is 1000% my spirit animal.
Oh God, he's just so cool. Stop steaming up my tail. What are you trying to do? Wrinkle it? He was not scared of anything. I like the one where whenever you got to watch it if you haven't seen it already, where the stork comes and he's the stork is disoriented, and he's actually drunk. He's but he brings Bugs Bunny to the monkey, the apes that were waiting for their baby.
Yeah. I know exactly what episode you're talking about.
Full advantage of it, and then at the end, the stork comes back still drunk with the right baby. I mean, you think about this, it's you're kids, and it's for adults too. You know what I mean? Adults can relate to a lot of that. It's like a genius way of writing, and of course Mel Blanc. God, what a legend.
Yeah, they have a lot of those old classic cartoons on like Amazon Prime. I still watch them. I throw them on all the time.
If you're just kind of chilling like a villain like Krillin, or you're like cleaning or something, it's a really good thing to kind of have in the background, and it's just like lifts your spirits, and it's silly. You might even just catch a few minutes of it, and you can just kind of jump in whenever you want. That's how I am with Seinfeld, and you're just going to wear that, that or Friends. You can just watch any of them. They completely out of order.
Yeah, the Office, Big Bang Theory, all those. Just throw it on.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Curb, yep.
I'm not really even watching one right now because I'm traveling so much. I'm not going to complain, but I know I'm missing out on some serious good TV. I hear stories about. I mean, the only one I watched that I binge watched was Breaking Bad. I saw that one, and wow,
classic.
Oh my gosh, Mr. White, bitch. Yeah,
that's not fair.
Yeah,
he can't get away with this.
I know, it's such good acting, and then of course COVID hit, and gosh, we had anything and everything to watch. I mean, if COVID, pandemic. Being at home,
me and Trad, we were friends pre-pandemic, but we really bonded over Joe Exotic and Tiger King during the pandemic.
Yeah,
that was a phenomenon right there.
Oh man, it took the world by storm.
Yeah. Man, that was a hard time for performers and showbiz. That was a really hard time because my show band Moonglass had to shut down, and we had to cancel all our gigs. It was really sad. But it taught us how to do stuff like this, and it taught us. Yeah. I mean, you gotta look at something. You gotta look at something that's really bad. You can turn it into something good. It's just perspective. Like you turn it around. You learn from it. That's for sure. Absolutely. I learned how to cook. I learned how to eat, and let me tell you, that was the highlight of my days. I mean, Goku and I have that in common. It's like,
there you go.
What's your dinner? What's your breakfast? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like it definitely changed the industry for the better, because I feel like pre-COVID, like where we were forced to do like Zoom calls and these types of things, it's like if you weren't landing like talk shows or syndicated television shows, like you really weren't. We were trying to figure it out, but now it's like it's so easily accessible. Yeah, and it's like more welcoming, a lot more welcoming. It's not as jarring because. I was a kid. I wouldn't say I was a kid actor, but I did a bunch of infomercials. So I've done like the circuit to New York and back and this, that, and the third and whatnot. And I remember, like being on those sets, like with the bright lights and like a bunch of other kids that are like, why are we here? Like, I don't know. And it was a lot. Yeah, so it's a lot. Yeah, exactly. Trav, like, I want to go home and watch Dragon Ball Z. Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. I don't know about all this. This is a little too much.
Yeah, but it's like it was very jarring. But it's just like now you can like send in tapes or audition like this, and like you're more comfortable and in your element and stuff. So it definitely helps. We get to have great conversations with people like you in Texas.
I mean, another thing is like the newscasters and said, who needs pants? I mean,
yeah, right. I'm staying home.
I'm just gonna sit in my underwear and do the news, and I'm good.
The job interviews where you just have the button up and then you just got your
like waist.
You stand up and it's like the commercial where the guy was walking around in his underwear, but he's dressed from the middle.
Yeah.
This was a remote meeting. It's like,
forgot my camera was on.
But there's another thing we learned about the pandemic too is we all had to survive. Some people worked more, some people worked less, some people couldn't work. We all had to navigate that, and that brought everybody, made us stronger because we learned how to do things like this. And like now I can do remote auditions. I have a home studio that I'm working with Dan on, and right now we're at his radio station, but so it can be done, and I'm looking for that next big role, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to take a bite out of something big.
Manifesting.
Yeah, so make it happen, because life was tough there for me, and 15, 16, 17 were really rough for me. I couldn't have kids, and my life was kind of falling apart. And so when I did come back out of the darkness, the fans are what truly brought me, and everything came full circle for me. All whatever I gave came flooding back, and then I felt like I had relevance again, and now I'm kind of like, finally out of the deep
Riding that
darkness
high, baby.
there.
Peaks and valleys, highs and lows.
Yeah.
I always try to tell, like my closest friends and family that if you're ever going through like a rough patch, I feel like the universe always makes sure that you stay 500. So like if it's been going really bad, that means you got some good karma coming your way. So
yeah, if you just gotta hold on, do whatever it takes. And for me, it was just feeling like I'd grown up with all this family and cousins and aunts and uncles, and then my mom passes and she was the glue, and then there was just like nobody. And it's like, I'm not a nobody person. Like I can hang out by myself, but I would rather be with people.
You thrive off human interaction.
Absolutely. We're social, creatures. And
Yep.
I mean, I remember just like I had to go to the grocery store or do something back then
just to get out the house.
I take a walk. If anybody's walking their dog, hey, where's everybody?
Yeah, because like we're all working from home, so it's like I don't need to go to the gas station, but I'm going to.
and then drive home.
My tank has been full for 3 months, but I'm gonna go to the gas station.
Gotta make sure the bad boy's still going.
Yeah,
exactly. But you're right. It taught us a lot, and like I said, all of the experiences that we have shape us, and it's up to us to take what we're learning and not be bitter and embrace it and move past it and heal. If you got trauma, because I'm really big on mental health awareness and people with anxiety and depression, and a lot of that is always going on. But during COVID, a lot of people got really sick, and they the holidays get bad for some people, and I know the anniversaries of the death get bad, and so there is help for people, and I always try to give back when I can, because when I was going through a lot of that, I wasn't eating or sleeping, I wasn't functioning very well because of all the loss and despair, and I do have like a nervous anxiety that kind of rattles some other people's demons sometimes. But you hear about that sometimes with like celebrities, and there's like an energy that people either latch onto it, or some people are like it's like an aura or something.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's another thing I've learned. I'm not in Kai or Super, so what did I do? I don't know exactly, but not being able to come back and continue on has been extremely difficult. I love what I did when I did it, but I'm ready to keep working, and I got all kinds of voices in this head ready to I got all kinds of more voices to do. So
absolutely, Stephanie. But you had mentioned something while we're on the topic of just like sense of community and us being like social creatures and everything. You had mentioned that at the time during like the original Funimation run, there just in the 90s in general, there was like a wave of like strong female voice actors that were providing the voices for like some of the top male characters. Like did you guys like kind of like form a bond like in that? Like do you guys still keep in communication now, just like
yes,
providing all the great voices?
The cool ones, I hang out and I'm good with the cool ones, and the a-holes, no, not so much.
Good strategy.
I'm just saying. I'm just super saying. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe they feel that way, but some people feel that way about me. I mean, there's haters everywhere. There's going to be haters. There's going to be jealousy. There's going to be competition. There's going to be people that love seeing other people fail, which is pathetic in my opinion, personally, because there's enough for everybody if everybody just, is not selfish with what's out there. We can all share in the world, if you know what I mean. We're all part of the universe. So yeah, but I did, most of the ones I bonded with are the ones I'm kind of seeing in the circuit now. Those are the ones I mentioned earlier, the OG Dragon Ball ladies. And I know some of them weren't invited back for Kai either. So I was like, I didn't want to be the only one, but I didn't want it to happen to anybody else either. You know what I mean? I was like, this really sucks. Because I didn't even know they were working on Kai at all. But I wasn't in the clique. I wasn't in the groove with those people. I was traveling with my show band, and I was working with bands locally, performing on the weekends and doing some traveling. And we were the senior breakfast band for the Windstar Casino in Thackerville, Oklahoma. We called ourselves the High Rollers. It's a casino, the High Rollers. There
you go. The pun, a good pun every time.
And it was 4 years. That thing lasted 4 years. We would perform Wednesday and Thursday mornings. There'd be a free breakfast buffet. 2,000 seniors would come through, play, gamble, line dance, hang out with the band, and then we were home like before at lunchtime. It was a crazy gig, one of the best ever. So there's always something to do. So, but you got to work too. You got to hit the pavement. And even if you're seasoned and you've got an IMDb and a page and a Wikipedia page, it doesn't mean the phone's just going to be ringing off the hook. You have to be productive. It's kind of a Buddhist principle where you've got productivity and compassion. So compassion with productivity. You can't just.
I'm actually reading a Buddhist book.
You are. I love it.
Nice.
I love it. It's such a peaceful way of living, and I'm not necessarily saying I'm a Buddhist, but I'm open to spirituality and spiritual concepts. And when I was working with Carl Finch, he was kind of my spiritual guru, and he's what brought Middle Eastern religion into our conversations. And one of them was Buddhism, and you can't just be sedentary. You can't just pray all day or meditate all day. Some people do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's more about every day making progress towards your goals and learning from your mistakes, because I made some terrible mistakes when I was floundering around like a fish out of water. Those years were very difficult, and I was in survival mode, and some people are pretty judgmental about, your decisions you make, so that they don't understand either. So it's kind of like when I went through even harder hardships, I actually opened up, and I don't judge other people. I mean, we need to be accountable. We have to be accountable for our behavior and how it affects others. But I just have an open heart. I have more of a soft, empathetic heart. Even for like criminals who are sick or they're mentally, something's wrong, something happened in their life, something inside of them that, sometimes they can't control it. And, but you can't go out and hurt people either. You can't go out and kill people. You just not, you can't do it. But, I believe that some people can be rehabilitated, or if it's an addiction, if it's alcohol, drugs, I believe in if you get the right help, you can fight that beast, man. It wants to kill you. Our demons want us to die, basically. So we got to be strong. So
it's like, we have our internal demons, and sometimes people don't want to find out like the source of it. It's just more so just deflect, get away from me. But it's at the same time, it's like
they're comfortable living in the chaos.
Yeah, right. And that's something I learned during COVID. I went into treatment for PTSD and anxiety, and was gone from my life because the world was shut down anyway. And I had not grieved the death of my mother. I had not gotten through. I was deflecting, like you said, just by working, singing. Everything's fine. Everything's pacifying. Well, not everybody is that happy. I mean, you can be not happy, and it's okay. You know what I mean? For me, I felt like I always had to be like, everything's so nice and wonderful, and oh my gosh, And I had to learn to not be a people pleaser anymore. And I still want to please people, but it's a different. It's more about boundaries and healthy boundaries. And
I would imagine that's really hard to do, like especially in the entertainment industry, because like a lot of what your profession is pleasing other people. So
and we live our lives for that adulation, not necessarily because our ego is wanting it. Our ego does want it, but we also want to feel like we're a part of something, and that what we're doing. Yeah,
that's what you're putting back into the world.
It's a creative way of expressing, and so. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what also makes it so difficult for showbiz, is because there is so much competition between actors and actresses and singers, and there's a lot of that, and it can get really ugly really fast. Like I thought about going to LA, thought about going to New York, and I went and visited just to see, and I'm like, it's not for me. Like I was getting older too, and I was like, you know what? I got a house. I'm going to settle down a little bit and maybe write some songs and get back into piano lessons. And I ended up teaching kids beginner piano and voice, little kids during awesome. The last part. I think of 2000. I guess COVID was I can't get the year straight, but as we were kind of coming out of COVID, I taught at the School of Rock, and I found that to be very fulfilling. So you never know what opportunity could. When a door closes and one opens and all that kind of stuff. If you're focused on the one that's closed, you're never going to open another one. So I had to learn a lot about not living in the past and not living in fear of the future. You got to be in the present. And that's just easier said than done. That's where the meditation probably comes in, and you just kind of have to be mindful and aware of what you're doing and how it's affecting others. And just, not everybody has the capacity to understand that concept. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then you touched upon just like, because when it comes to like, teaching kids and everything, and Matt and I, we talk about this consistently about having a 9 to 5, but also pursuing our creative passions. And as we were doing our research for this episode, I know that you speak to students about pursuing like your passion as like your career path. And we've been blessed to talk to people on this podcast who actually have been able to mold that, so that like, because for us growing up, it's like, oh, you got to be a doctor, accountant, finance, like
lawyer.
Society.
Yeah, you have to have a major.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that, whether it's tools, resources, guidance to people that they're like, hey, those traditional jobs are not for me. How, like, what are some words that you give to a young student that, no, I want to go this path. I want to go this
right.
way.
Well, I mean, depending on their age, I mean, I've visited schools. I try to do that on the regular, especially schools with troubled children or children who have a troubled life, or there's domestic violence in the home and things like that. Because I remember having some of that that happened to me. And so, I like what you said, where you got a job to make your money to provide food and shelter and the essential needs. But then if there's a passion, everybody's got something that they're passionate about, and then just to encourage them to follow that dream. And because I was kind of like that, not with doctors and lawyers per se, or 9 to 5 jobs, but mine was more like that. Well, I was never really going to make it, because I was a small town girl, and my parents, or my stepdad was never supported any of that. My mom was my world, really. But just to work on it day by day and do something every day that write it down, keep a journal. My goodness, write down your feelings, work through them, and find a way. Get online, start Googling things. My gosh, we had encyclopedias when I was a kid. We didn't have the computer or YouTube or anything. Yeah. There's so many resources.
We got this thing now. Yeah, it's crazy.
There's I know workshops. There's mine says y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right.
I like
I'm
that.
7.
I love that.
And just find something, and even if it's a financial thing, just start slow. And like when we were kids, we had piggy banks. So we put money in our little piggy bank, and then at some point you'll open an account and open up a savings account. And that's what I did, and I ended up living on that money during COVID. So with feast or famine,
super clutch.
Yeah, feast or famine. I mean, you got to provide, and you got to be, something I didn't know is I was going to have to be like on my own at like 26 years old. All of a sudden I'm on my own, all by myself. And I just bought a house, and now I felt alone because my family was just blown apart because mom was gone. So, being self-sufficient and independent is important. So getting on with a mentorship or an internship, if there's something you really want to do, find out who's got some open doors for you, or who can bring you in and you can kind of shadow what you like. Because some people want to get into animation, or they want to draw. They want to, create storylines. There's, I mean, I get it. I mean, all the art on my table, my merchandise table, are all original artists that I support because I want them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because they're artists too. We all have some gift or gifts that were given to us, and they're in our part of our soul. So if you misdirect it, you'll just keep flubbing up, and you'll have to keep coming back and doing, like, making mistakes over and over and over. It's never going to change. So I think I encourage people to like go out of their way to even put like goals on your mirror in the bathroom, or it sounds cheesy and weird, but it's not. It's sometimes gets people through the day. I mean, and the kids that come up and talk to me face to face at these conventions, some of them said they were suicidal, or they were getting beaten by their dad, or their parents were fighting, or their dad was drunk or in jail, and like they would rush home from school, shut the door in their bedroom, and that was their escape. So that makes me feel good. That makes me feel like I had a purpose, and then now it's just more about telling my story and just being and writing all my fans back. I always keep my phone nearby so I can write everybody back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not everybody does that, and that's to each his own. But I love it because they're like y'all are my kids. You know, I got a bunch of kids all over the world.
Little cherubs.
Yeah, little cherubs, little chibis. Yeah,
Little babies, little DB babies.
they are. Because a lot of the fans, they're all ages, but a lot are in their 30s now and some 40s, and they have kids and they're watching it again, which is awesome.
Man, that's us. You're speaking to us.
But it's got so much universal meaning that it's not like it's, oh, that's old school. Well, yeah, maybe it is, but it's like the show is still relevant. And because it was already so popular in Japan, and the GT and Super and the Funko Pop toys. Hello. That's
coming back with a vengeance.
Shout out to Mikey. Mikey loves the Funko Pop.
Yeah, shout out to Super Duper Mikey.
I'm doing a signing after we get done for somebody that I met at a convention. I'm going to mail them back to him.
That's awesome.
And some
That's awesome.
Dragon Ball Z cards, and some people like the double signatures and stuff like that.
We're talking about like me and Trav's generation, us 30-year-olds who are like introducing, whether because I do have kids, introducing them to it, or just bringing it up for younger siblings or anything like that. Do you have a moment or maybe like a time where like it kind of hit you that like, oh, I'm part of like a generational thing, like this is something that's gonna like transcend my existence? Do you have like a moment where that really like sat in and sunk in for you?
Well, it was kind of like little seeds, like the first Comic-Con, or I guess the first time seeing it on TV, that was it. And then the VHS tapes that were coming out, we were signing VHS tapes at the little conventions, and then the Burger King special came out. I think that was 2000 or 2001, where they, the Happy Meal, I shouldn't say Happy Meal, that's McDonald's, but the Burger King was given away.
What is the Burger King's meal called?
I don't know.
Really giving that thought.
It's that toy in a bag. I don't know.
Yeah. A BK meal, I don't know.
Burger Kids, I don't know. And then they give them you get like a random character from Dragon Ball Z, and it was, of course, exactly the saga we were working on at the time. And somewhere in the archives, I have a video of me going to Burger King and getting a kid's meal and did like a little reenactment. And I got to find all this stuff because it's been years, but it's on 8mm. But yeah, so that, and then going to Europe for the first time with my show band, I turned on the TV in my room and Dragon Ball Z was playing in Italian, and I got to hear the Gohan's voice in Italian. And then go into the souvenir shop. It's crazy. That's awesome. Those were the. What's going on here? Like, what is it? This is a bigger deal than I thought. And I found. In fact, my first Dragon Ball Z sweatshirt I ever bought was from Italy. I was in Naples at a souvenir store. I was like, oh yeah, so it's a hoodie with freaking Gohan on the back of it.
That's awesome.
So then I just thought it was just going to get. I mean, not negatively saying. I just realistically know that you can have something and it can be gone the next day. So I just figured,
things run its course.
Yeah, and sometimes a promotional end, or sometimes some people didn't want bands anymore, or their budget couldn't afford bands anymore, and you start to get stronger and more resilient and less upset when things just change. And so for me, the big ahas have been of the past couple of years, just really getting out in the fields. And I mean, I'll just carry my keys around, and I've got like little Goku keychains, and I got a screenshot of Kid Goku on my phone, and I don't realize people see that and they'll want to talk about it. Oh, I love Dragon Ball Z or whatever, or the servers at the restaurants that we go out to eat. Oh my gosh, that's Goku. Next thing you know, we're talking about I'm the voice of Goku. It's usually Dan that does the bragging, and I'm just kind of like, no, because sometimes it just I don't want to. I don't know. I just want to be careful with how I don't want to be brag. I don't want to be a braggart.
We'll brag about you for you. We got you.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
I'm not going to be out there tooting my own horn.
More water. This is the voice of Kid Goku right here.
Right. By the way, in case you didn't notice.
Well, yeah, and even
can we get 2 lemons in that, actually? Thank you.
Right. Instead of just one.
Maybe some free dessert. Yeah.
Right.
But
They said, hey, Olive Garden, don't skimp on those mints after the meal.
Yeah,
This is the voice of Gohan over here.
Give me a handful of those. No. But yeah, no, it's just it's cultural. It's transcended. So I can't even know how many countries have dubbed the show. But
it's just Earth, all of
everywhere.
Earth.
Mexico,
all of Earth.
I get to meet some of the Mexico City actors at an event in Puerto Rico at the beginning of August, I think, or the end of August. So I'm traveling to Australia, New Zealand in like 2 weeks. I've awesome. Been there several times. The first time I ever went was 2002, and that was with Veronica Taylor, the voice of Ash Ketchum, and we kind of like toured together. Yeah, and I just saw her 22 years later at NostalgiaCon in San Antonio. It was so crazy that we're just like, do you remember that? And she's like, oh yeah. It's like, oh, this is crazy. We're still doing Comic-Cons, and they
awesome.
They whisk us around, and I stay really busy. And so I think it's just more that that I'm making a living right now, just doing appearances and booking meet and greets and photo ops and working fundraisers. And I always try to donate some stuff too for some of the causes that I'm really invested in, like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. My mom was leukemia, and Dan's was lymphoma. Mental illness, bullying, addiction. I have a lot of things that I just feel like you got to give back, and so I try to make it. I got it. That's got to be part of my life. Because I haven't, like I said, I'm not perfect. I've made some decisions that weren't exactly good ones, and so, well, why not just give back, and then you'll feel better about it. You'll feel like you maybe kind of balance the universe out a little bit. You just,
Yeah.
Now that I'm coming out of the darkness, it's like then you get that gratitude, that attitude of gratitude,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if there's any like causes or charities that you would love for us to promote, please let us know. We'll put it in the episode description. So that'd be great.
I'll definitely do that.
Definitely do it. Name of this episode.
I know, that's for branding. Definitely.
No, I love it. But speaking of branding stuff, I gotta ask you $1 million question for myself, because this is something that I've held near and dear to my heart my whole life. I have always said that one of the greatest casting decisions in the history of casting was having you play the voice of Kid Goku, having already voiced Gohan. I just thought that just made so much sense to me.
Well,
that it just was such like a exactly. It just made so much sense to me. But obviously, like Gohan being the first role and you having like such a strong attachment to him, but like Goku obviously being the star of the show. When you auditioned or offered that role, did you kind of have like a sense of like, oh no, but Gohan, that's my guy. Now I'm about to be Goku. Like, like, what do I do?
I remember the day that I showed up, and I didn't. The scheduler at Funimation would say, "Hey, we need you for 2 hours. What are you available? This is it," and we just schedule it that way. But I remember the day that I came in, and it was Dragon Ball. Because I'd finished Gohan. Gohan had grown up. I'd already done the Cell Saga, and it was.
You didn't even know that's what you were about to do that day?
No.
That's crazy.
It's like we were like pumping them out and being efficient. It's like you do this, okay, and then you just learn to jump in. Like I said, singing in bands and doing all these things. I've juggled so many things, and I wear so many hats that I just. What do you want? Oh, okay, you want a screaming woman? Okay, well, you got it, And so I remember Barry Watson was there. So grateful to that man, by the way. Because I feel like he's the one that really discovered me from the very get-go and got me into the anime world. He started the episode of Dragon Ball, and I didn't know what it was. And he said, let's see if you can do a voice for Kid Goku. And I'm like, oh, Goku is a boy. See, I didn't even know what Dragon Ball was. I still hadn't heard about it yet. So I remember specifically like being directed to take some rasp out. Don't make it as raspy. Raise it to a more carefree, high-pitched little boy raised in the woods. He explained the whole story of the Monkey King and all these things to me, King Kamehameha and all of that. And I just remember it felt like it's like it fell right in the pocket, because I knew Gohan, they can sound similar. They are related. But I didn't play Goten, but that wasn't necessary either. It's all kind of a director's choice kind of thing. But I just remember, some of my lines were like, wee, yeah, up here, higher. And then through the acting, it was more of his story of being, well, obviously he's raised in the woods, doesn't know a boy from a girl, very innocent, like not ignorant necessarily, but just, yeah, kind of ignorant. Like that, when I say ignorant, I mean, he just hasn't learned yet. You know, the 4-star ball and the grandpa. And I mean, next thing you know, I mean, I was Goku in Dragon Ball, and I was called in more often for that, which is kind of like a revival of, you know, more voice work, which is great. And then there's more for the resume. And so that's kind of how that happened.
That's a crazy thing to put on a resume.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you know, voice of Goku. You're welcome.
Well, and then fast forward a couple more years, Dragon Ball GT gets picked up, and Goku gets turned back into a little boy. It's like, yes,
You're like,
job security.
Yeah.
For like another year and a half, or however long it took us to do the episode. And
tonight we're going to Sizzler. It's on me. He's splurging tonight.
I'm getting the top sirloin. Thank you very much with a loaded baked potato.
Yeah. Like, matter of fact, let me get that blooming onion. Let me get that.
Yeah.
Let me get that.
And dessert while we're
Yeah.
So yeah.
let me get that molten lava cake.
Yeah, that lava cake. Yeah.
Throw that in there.
Ice cream. Let me get my
with the scoop of ice cream on top. Let me get that too.
Yeah, that was cool. And you know, some people didn't embrace GT, and others absolutely love it. And what I'm excited about is I just found out, literally not even a week ago, that there's GT Pops coming out. They're being released, I think, in July. So I've already pre-ordered some because I'm so excited. Got Goku Funko Pops and Super Saiyan 3 GT Pops, and GameStop exclusive is coming out. I think it's the one with Goku with the little Dragon Ball, like the Kamehameha wave in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I might have to cop that one.
Yeah. I mean, they say once you start collecting,
I've heard.
especially the pop,
I know. That's why I'm nervous about it.
I know, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I can get fixated on things sometimes. So
Yeah.
Let me,
Yeah, I'm like, where do I put these things? I don't even know where to put them.
I'm still waiting on my Donna Summer Pop. Damn it! Where's my Donna Summer Pop?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get stuff her Donna Summer Pop.
Man.
Let's get that.
There's the Queen of Disco, and you don't have a Funko Pop for Donna Summer?
Yeah. What?
Blasphemous.
How dare they?
Blasphemers.
Oh, I was in mourning the day she died. Oh my God, I was inconsolable. I had 2 gigs to do. I had one in the morning and one at night, and I was just like wearing black. And,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, she's one of my heroes, my life heroes. And so, but like I said, you got to just learn from it. And her music will live on forever. Like when you say this nostalgia, I can play her music and on my phone. I can jump on YouTube or whatever, Spotify, or whatever, and there once it's there, it's there. Can't be taken away.
The beauties of tech now, you can just, you know, it's just right there in the palm of your hand. You know, you can keep it going. I had one quick question that I'm like curious. When you auditioned for Dragon Ball, did you talk to anybody that were like, you do realize that's like that's major, right?
Was there, like the star of the like, property.
Yeah, like
I still don't remember feeling. I mean, I think being the lead role was kind of like, wow, okay, so he's the protagonist. Yeah. He's not a side character. I mean, they're all important roles, all of them. But to actually be coming in more often, and
number one on the call sheet.
He was so much fun to voice, and I would react to pictures so many times. They just let it run, and you know, I would just make up stuff, and they would just let us watch and see how much they could get in one take. And he was just fun. He didn't know his own strength, and he'd win battles against these full-grown men, and he'd win the prize, and he doesn't even need the money, but he knows that money will buy food. It's just all innocence, and you know, some of my favorite lines are, you know, why do women have butts on their chest? And he's looking at Bulma and trying to check under her skirt, but I just wanted to see if you had a tail. Like he's pure of heart, you know, he doesn't fall through the Nimbus cloud, and I think he's just a great little superhero. And I think I'm honored beyond words to have gotten cast as that role, for sure. I'm actually having somebody make me a Goku jacket. I'm sending her the denim jacket, and she's making me.
Oh yeah, you deserve that.
And she deserves it. Like I said, if the original art, like being an artist myself in my own way, it's like this AI stuff just gotta stop. It's I know it can help in some ways, but in other ways, it's like ripping people off and making people say things they didn't say, and like it's kind of creepy, to be honest.
Like it's not hard enough. Now we gotta fight technology here too.
Next thing you know, there's robots. I went to a really cool restaurant a couple of weeks ago where they had it was like a sushi restaurant. They had little robots come and bring you your water and your drinks, and then it would turn around and leave. And it's like, that's kind of cute, but that's not like mimicking anything. But like,
what's the etiquette on a restaurant that uses like artificial waiters? Like, do you tip? Like,
I know. That's a good question.
Do I give it a Duracell?
Yeah, like if a little R2D2 brings me my sushi, I'm not necessarily gonna leave a 10 on the table.
Right? You can't really use it. Hey, don't charge your battery tonight. Right? Something for you for your battery.
You gotta bring USBs to leave. Like, just say a USB cord. Just drop.
You gotta bring the iPhone brick. Like, here you go. That's for you.
Plug them right in.
That's for you.
Okay, you're back on. You're on the bench. You come back out.
Yep.
Absolutely, Stephanie. Well, Steph, we could literally talk to you all day, and we do like to say on DB4L that once you come on once, you're a forever guest. So I feel like you have so many stories to tell that we couldn't just encapsulate in one episode. But our fans would have our heads if we don't ask this question. You are part of, probably outside of all the millions of iconic things that you're a part of in the anime and the nerd world, you're probably part of one of the greatest and most memed and clipped and gifed or gift, however you say it, moment in history with Gohan becoming Super Saiyan 2. We all know the line and the scream and the snap. And we were talking about how, you being a professional singer and voice acting at the same time, you had to be cognizant of, like protecting your voice and everything. Do you remember that day? Because like that scream is such an iconic moment in Dragon Ball that I can only imagine like how you would have mustered that up like on that day. Do you remember that day?
I do. I remember being there all day. Quite a bit more often because he did have more dialogue and screams and fighting reactions and things like that. Thankfully, like I said, we left for all the really hard screams for the very end of the day, the very end of the session. If it was 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever. I remember doing it several times because I wanted them to have enough material to put it together, overlap it, take the deep breath, do it as long as I can. And it's got to be real pain. And my mom passed away, and Gohan's like, his dad's in his ear talking telepathically, and I'm like thinking about my mom, this is something important to me as a person, and to really capture that emotion, I really had it in my life. I didn't have to fake it. I was channeling deep, dark emotions of loss and all, like, how Gohan's big story is how people pick on his friends and how loyal he is, and how he kind of holds back like I say his whole life. He was 11 in that scene, but
what an 11 years he had.
Right, he did. He went through a lot, and so for me, it was just more. I really wanted to do a good job, first of all, because once I walked in to do the voice of Gohan as an 11-year-old, it's me, but it's still a different voice, if that makes sense. Like, it's a whole different voice. It's conveyed completely from a different place in my throat, like the sound and everything. So, I know I had to squeeze my eyes shut a lot and just let it all come out. And, I remember a couple times leaving, my head would just be swooning, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. And then I got to get in the car and drive home. I was like, oh my God, but yeah, I do remember doing those really crazy, insane screams in the BoJack movie. I'm my father's son, all of that.
Oh,
yeah.
So my favorite Dragon Ball Z movie. I champion BoJack Unbound.
BoJack Unbound, so good, man.
Yeah, he's got his dad's gi on, he's got orange.
Yeah.
They should have utilized that more with Teen Gohan. Like, that was
with the Goku gi. Absolutely.
She wanted him to go back to school, be the great Saiyaman. Another one thing I'll tell you about that, I was actually Gohan's first date. There's only one episode. Her name is Angela. She's a red hair. I voiced Angela in the first episode.
Awesome.
Gohan is Kyle Bear took over from then on.
That's cathartic as hell.
You wear teddy bear underwear. It's like I finally got to play the role of.
I remember this episode. I know exactly what episode you're talking about. That's crazy.
Yeah. Let's go see a movie. I love movies. She was insane, that girl. Yeah, Gohan ran screaming. Wow. He was like, "This is
he's like, I gotta find my Videl."
Yeah, this ain't it. The streets ain't for me.
red hair, flags. I mean, it was like, no, this isn't gonna work. But I dated myself in a way, like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's about as full circle can get.
Yes.
Parented yourself, like you done it.
Word, parented yourself.
Exactly. I was the father. I was the son. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, there's we did a lot of that back in the day. There was a pool. Yeah, there was a pool of talent, and it was smaller, and there was, it's huge, humongo now. It's like I hardly can even get anybody in to Crunchyroll. I'm not a director. I'm not a casting director, but I try to encourage the best I can, but I don't have any control over the casting. It's a lot more corporate now, but yeah, there's just some little tidbits for the listeners that, if they want to know the trivial stuff, and then, like the animation themes and stuff like that. They're on YouTube, and they can be found, but my name isn't necessarily attached to them. But, for whatever reason, the Carl and his band was credited, but the actual vocalists weren't, for whatever reason. I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying that's just how they did things. So, and if I could do more of that stuff, that'd be great, because I love to write.
It's coming. It's on the way. It's on the way for you.
I always hit a little little bop when Sayonara Bye Bye comes on. When
hell yeah!
Just take care of yourself. Yep. Mm-hmm. That was the first one. That was the baby.
Listen, when you got Smile Bomb starting it off and Sayonara Bye Bye ending it, you in good hands.
That's a good day. That's a good day.
That's a great day. And you know what? This was a great day. This was an amazing day, Stephanie. And before we let you get out of here, I first want to say happy birthday to you again.
Thank
happy
you.
belated birthday.
It's my birthday. Party, it's my birthday.
And before we close this bad boy out, is there can let the people know how they can support what you got going on? Like you said, if there's any organizations that you would love to champion, please, the floor is yours.
Okay. I pretty much just go with my website. It's just stephanienadolny.com. It's got a lot of those animation themes on there, some of my demos, and a few pictures. It's kind of in its infancy stages. We've just been traveling so much, we haven't been able to really update it, but we try to on the regular. It's just where I'm going to be next and things like that. And then it's got my social media, Instagram, Facebook. I've got a Stephanie Nadolny voice actress page that people can join. Moonglass Band is my band. We're on hiatus right now. And that's just because of scheduling. And I will probably add some things to it with these things you mentioned, like the Leukemia and LLS, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and American Cancer Society, and Friends of the Family, Domestic Violence, and addiction, mental illness, all that kind of stuff. If I find that there's something I'm trying to support, I'll put that probably on the website, and if not there, it'll be on my social media. And I have a TikTok page. It's so silly. I know some people are like, that is cheesy, but I'm very childlike, and I'm kind of got to live vicariously through Kid Goku. So like I'm just got the mentality of Beavis and Butthead or something, like because I hung out with the boys, So a lot of that can be found. TikTok is at Steph Nadolny. It's different, but it's all of that's on my website, and hopefully I'll be able to be better about keeping that up to date. That's Dan's job now.
There we go.
He is updating it right now. What a manager. Who loves me? That's Dan, the man, Lieutenant Dan.
Hey. Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
Lieutenant Dan. You hear that.
I love that. Like I said, we'll 1000% share all your links in your episode description for sure. Because like you said, like at a certain point, which is why me and Trav started this podcast amongst many other reasons, is like to put out, like to be the representation and change that we wanted to see as a kid. So,
absolutely.
Like making it acceptable. And like you said, like life can be super sucky Like if you let it be, like why not laugh and have fun, especially like with this stuff, like with anime and just comics, manga and stuff like that. Like we don't all need to be uptight and just critiquing each other and they said this on page 86, not 87.
Right. Dan and I have a whole
like you right, my fault.
Right. Dan and I have a whole shtick at home. It's like I'll just start busting into, is it Timothy to get them to the peeves or whatever. I'll just like start doing my voices for him, and I talk to my dog. I've got my dog yodeling now.
That's awesome.
He watches me go like this, like, and he yodels before I even make this. It's amazing. We have a lot of fun, and we had something we were going to do during COVID. It was it Daryl and Donna? We're going to Daryl and Donna. We're going to do episodes. we still have to do that. That may be kind of fun. So
look, man, we, like I told you, we are manifesting all the great things coming to you.
Yeah,
all the great
same
things.
in return, man. You guys are great. It's really good to meet you. I'm glad we got this on the calendar and got it done.
Absolutely.
Before the summer season.
And
I feel like we only scratched the surface, so we would love to have you back again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's see about doing something in the fall or winter when things slow down just a little. And I thought I could do is probably send you guys some MP3 files of some of the parodies and jingles I've sung, because some of them are really funny. Some of them are on the website. Kids Christmas is on the website. Halloween Rocks I wrote and produced with Carl Finch. It's a novelty stuff, but great for kids. Family friendly stuff. I keep it clean. I keep it real. My mom raised me to be a lady, and she failed miserably, but I try to stay.
She did a great job. We think you're awesome.
She understands. So let me know how I can support you guys as well.
We will, Stephanie. And I will say before, I always love to give my brother Trav the final words of wisdom if he has any. But I will say, again, thank you so much. Like your spirit, your energy. I feel like literally you as a person is summed up to like what we're trying to do here on with this podcast. So it's just so it's very refreshing and encouraging. Yeah, to have you on here, because it's like just some of the stuff that you're saying right now to us. Me and Trav have had said to each other in like private conversations. So it's just like, seeing that, like we're on similar wavelengths with people that have been doing this at such a high level for such a long time. It's thank you. Like it's very eye-opening and uplifting.
Good. I hope so. Sure. I want to keep doing more of that. I got a lot of crosses to bear, whatever you want to call that. I got to make up for some shit. So bad decision days. We'll fix it all in the universe.
There we go. But Brother Trav, if you have any final words of wisdom before we wrap it up, brother, I'd love to give it to you if you have them.
I feel like, listen to this episode, hearing this talk, I just feel like you just gotta live by this mantra that there's beauty in life as long as you embrace the ugly.
Yeah, because you got to have the contrast. You got to have the yin and the yang. Exactly. There's got to be a balance, and even if you don't even think of it as like good, I'm not a genius or a guru or whatever, but like good and bad. Okay, whatever you want to call that is you still have to have the balance, because if you don't have the dark, 100%. You can't see the light, and if you don't have the light, you can't see the dark, and you can't just have good moments. You won't grow or learn what your soul's supposed to be learning while we're here, because we're here for a vapor, and then boom, we're gone. So I don't say that to be negative. I'm just saying
no, for sure.
Carpe diem, seize the day. Get off your butt and make something happen every single day, even if it's just a little bitty step in the right direction. We all got to learn. We're all basically just walking each other home. Basically we're all part of the cosmos, and that's what I feel. Is that we're brothers and sisters. Man, anti-racism, I'm like, no, I don't go there. So we are all related in a way,
Basic human decency. It's the easiest thing to give. Right? It's the easiest.
And if you don't have it, then get some help and turn your life around, Go to the hokey pokey rehab and turn your life around.
There you go.
Turn yourself around. That's what it's all
down
about.
to the OK Corral. Get it figured out.
Yeah. Figure it out, because nobody's gonna do it for you.
Absolutely. And on that note, such a motivator. This didn't turn into a sermon that I wasn't expecting it to turn into, but I'm here for it.
Can I have an amen? Hallelujah. These boys are saved.
Take it to church.
All the angels.
Lifers, we call you guys the lifers because you quite literally put the L into DB4L. But we know that we can't grow this spirit bomb without you. So lend us your energy by way of likes, subscribes, 5 to 7 star reviews, Instagram follows, and all that jazz. And the easiest way to do so is by clicking the all-powerful link tree of might in the episode description below. And like we always say here in the Kame house that Toriyama built, whether you watch it or you read it, we all need it. So open up your nerd eye and we will see you next time on Dragon Ball for Life.
Yeah.
Hold on, Ray.
Kamehameha.
Shout outs to super producer Mikey and Dragon Ball GT.
All
Love
right.
you, Mikey. And shout outs to Yali. All caps.
All
And
caps.
Tay. And Anshi.
And I see the Ray.
Shout out to everybody in the whole world.
Later, nerds.
Mortals, listen up. It's your god of destruction, Beerus here. Subscribe and follow the Dragon Ball for Life podcast, or else you shall be erased from existence. Hakai.